Welcome to my complete English language course on the basics of the English language. In this video, we will see about linking and transitive verbs. Let's get started. We learned that an English sentence has a subject, a verb, and then an object. There are some sentences that can be made without an object, and also there are some sentences that can more than one object. And there are also sentences where it looks like an object, but actually we don't consider it as an object. In this video, we will have a quick overview on these different types. To understand this, we will focus on three different types of sentences. The sentences is different due to the way that we use the verb, and the types are transitive verb, intransitive verb, and linking verb. We will see this in detail. Well, what is transitive verb? These are all the sentences we begin talking about. These sentences will have subject, verb, and the object. And this transitive verb can be broken into two categories. One is monotransitive verb and ditransitive verb. Let's see about this in the next slide. Let's see about the types of transitive verb, which is monotransitive sentence and ditransitive sentence. The monotransitive sentence, which are made up of subject, verb, and the object. And the ditransitive sentences are made up of subject, verb, indirect object, and direct object. Here actually we have two objects. One is indirect object and the other one is direct object. Let's see some of the example for these two types. The monotransitive sentences are very easy to understand. And the example is Bala kicked the ball. Here, Bala is the subject, kicked is the verb, and the ball is the object. Here, object is the ball, and it is really a true object because the action from the verb is being transferred from the subject to the object. So, this is the example of monotransitive sentence. And the example of ditransitive sentence is Bala gave Peter the cake. Here, the Bala is the subject and gave is the verb. Peter is the indirect object and the cake is the direct object. Here, if we took our indirect object, which is Peter, we still have monotransitive sentence, which is Bala gave the cake. So, the cake is a direct object. The cake is receiving an action, which is giving. And who is the action going to? It is the Peter. So, Peter is an indirect object. That's it about monotransitive sentence and ditransitive sentence. Let's see what is direct object and indirect object. Well, direct objects are the nouns or pronouns that are receiving an action, while the indirect objects are the nouns or pronouns that are affected by the action. Indirect objects are the recipients of the direct object. And the indirect object is always going to answer the question for whom, to whom, or for what, and from whom. Let's see an example. Bala gave Peter the cake. Here, the Bala is the subject and gave is the verb. The cake is receiving an action gave. The cake is being given. So, the cake is the direct object. And who is affected by the action? It is Peter, because Peter is getting the cake. So, Peter is the indirect object. That's all about direct object and indirect object. Next, we will see what is intransitive verb. These are sentences. They don't actually have a real object. That means their action is not transferred from a subject to an object. So, the intransitive verb has the structure subject plus verb. Sometimes we will be having prepositional phrase at the end. Let's see some of the examples. She cried. And she cried at home. Here, she is the subject and cried is the verb. And at home is the prepositional phrase. It is not an object because home is not receiving the action which is crying. So that this is not a valid object and this is a prepositional phrase. So this is an example of intransitive sentence. Again, we can follow this intransitive verb with other words and they are not the object. It tells us things like how, where or when, but they are not really an object. Let's see an example. He slept after dinner. We could end the sentence with he slept. After dinner is not an object because dinner is not receiving the action which is sleeping. So after dinner is just telling us when did she sleep. So this is an example of intransitive sentence. And one more example is our car blew up down the street. Well, what is linking verb? Linking verbs link two parts of a sentence. These sentences don't have an object. It will have something different which is called subject complement. The linking verb links two parts of the sentence and the two parts are subject and the subject complement. So the basic structure is subject plus verb plus subject complement. Let's see an example. John is a doctor. Here is the linking verb and here there is no action. So it is the linking verb sentence. That's all about linking and transitive verbs. In the next video, we will focus on adjectives, adverbs, determiners and much more. Thank you. If you found this video helpful, please like, share and comment this video. If you want to stay up to date with our latest content, please subscribe to my channel, Spider Tech Hub. Thank you.